Hi, everyone. Thank you for pressing play on the Intentional Goal Setting for Mums workshop. So, this recording is for those of you that couldn't make the online workshop. So, I'm just going to talk you through a little bit about what we're going to be looking at today. So, I'm going to do a brief introduction. I'm going to explain what matrescence is and talk about the seasons of motherhood. We're not going to do a meditation in this recording because it was specific to the people on the course. But then we're going to move on to finding your why, recognizing what phase of motherhood you're in, creating a strategy, and setting intentional goals. So I'm going to introduce myself a little bit first. So my name is Lou. I am mum to two boys and I live in Ibiza. I founded Lou Nevitt and Co. after struggling with my own experience of becoming a mother. It turned my world upside down. I didn't know what was happening. I loved my kids, but the rest of life that changed, I found extremely difficult. I lost my sense of identity. I had terrible imposter syndrome going back to work. I just didn't trust myself or feel like I was where I was supposed to be. It completely turned my world upside down. So I went on a mission to learn what was happening to me, to try and understand and work through this experience that I was having. And I soon found a lady called Amy Taylor Kabaz, who is an incredible woman. She is the founder of Mama Rising, which is a course to teach you about really what happens when you become a mother, what happens across all areas of life, and how to work through it. So I did the course, I had the coaching myself, and it completely transformed my world. It gave me a deeper connection with myself. It made me recognize the phase of life that I was in, and it gave me the confidence to finally become the mother that I really wanted to be. And now I'm qualified to support other women with that same journey. So I support and educate women with their own experiences into motherhood and throughout motherhood. And the methods that I work with are very tried and tested. Like, I have been through it all, believe me. And this isn't about parenting tips. I can't teach you how to get your children to sleep, but what I can do is teach you to grow alongside your children, to work on yourself so that you show up as the mum and the woman that you want to be. So you might hear me talk about matrescence. Matrescence is a word used by anthropologists to refer to the process of becoming a mother. So the period of transition from woman to mother and all of the changes in life that come with that. So if you think of adolescence, where a child turns into an adult, it's a very similar time with just as many, if not more, changes. So the coaching that I offer is about working through the layers of what you expected this time in life to be like versus what it truly is like, and trying to fit those two together. So we look at everything. We look at relationships, sense of self, work or business, spirituality, economics, hormones, all of the things that make up being a mother and a woman. And it's about really exploring who you are now that you are a mum. So no matter how long ago you became a mum, it's recognizing and understanding that you are in the middle of a huge transformation of identity. And that as your children grow and go through different developmental milestones, you too are transforming and growing. And it's about giving yourself peace and space to do that. So today, I am going to help you look at your own realities, your own seasons of life that you are currently in. and we're going to set some goals. So if any of you have ever been to a goal setting workshop before, or you've read a self-help book, well, this space is completely different. Most goal setting advice was not made with mothers in mind. Most self-help or goal setting was created by childless men or people that did not have to look after kids. It was made assuming that you have endless hours available, that you have uninterrupted sleep, you have no dependence, no mental load, and of course, a complete abundance of energy. If you're tired, support poor, and running on coffee and leftover cereal, then, getting up at 5 a.m. is definitely not going to get you closer to your goals. It is going to leave you feeling like a failure. When you don't hit the goals because you can't keep up with the strategy, you feel like you're the problem. You aren't trying hard enough, you aren't pushing hard enough, but that's rubbish. That's not why. So I have experienced this firsthand. I'll give an example. I wanted to get back into shape after having my second baby. And this was a good couple of years in. So he was kind of on and off sleeping through the night. But when I looked at my time schedule, with having a baby that was getting up in the night and also going to work and building a business, was very, very time poor. And the only space that I had in my day that I could see was getting up at 5 a.m., going to the gym and doing a 6 a.m. workout class. And that was all I could see. And that in my head was going to be how I was going to achieve my goal of getting back into shape. But of course, that didn't happen. I was irritable. I was tired. I was exhausted. Worst of all, it didn't work. Nothing worked. I wasn't getting into shape. And the reason for that is because I was getting straight out of bed with not enough sleep. I was necking a coffee and going to do a really intense workout class. And that was just flooding my body with cortisol. So it wasn't even getting the results physically that I wanted. So I was putting myself and my family through all this stress for what? For nothing. So I zoomed out. And had a look at what was really going on in my week. What could I move around? What could I change? And I actually did find a pocket a couple of times a week that I could switch arrangements with my husband, and he then took over some child care activity so that I could then use that time for exercise. And that was a helpful, healthy way for me to reframe based on my situation, my phase of motherhood. So that's just a very, very quick example. So we're going to move past the meditation for the purpose of this recording, so that we can get through it. So I know that you probably think goal setting starts with setting a goal, but actually you're wrong. It doesn't. So the best way to do it is to look at your why. So why do we want to know why? Why don't we just get straight into the goals? Well, the reason that we look at why is because many goals fail because they are completely disconnected from why they even matter to you anymore. Why do they matter? Why is it important? What is the reason? When you find your why, your reason will act as an anchor for your goals. It will be what you come back to any time that you are drifting off. And as life as a mum, we're often on autopilot. We're rushing from one thing to the other. We have a change of plans. I mean, let's be honest, change of plans is pretty much daily, right? When you're a mum. And last minute things pop up all the time that need to take priority, and you just have to get them done. So it's very difficult to stay on track if you don't have a clear reason or a clear why. So no matter how many times you have to pick up your sick kids from school or deal with a surprise that does take priority over everything, you will always come back to your why because you make it a priority. It's up there at the top. It's important to you and it's what matters. So it's what drives you. If you aren't sure on your why, think about how you want to feel. What problem is your goal going to solve? What would change in daily life if you got this goal done? So those are your whys. So I want you to look at this yourself now. So pause the recording and work through these 3 questions. I want to feel this matters because, and if nothing else changed except this, my life would feel. So, for example, I want to exercise more. That's the goal. That then becomes, I want to feel energized and confident. This matters because I will have better mood and spend better time with my family and have more energy to play with my kids. If nothing else changed except this, my life would feel happier, calmer, freer, less self-conscious. So you have to pause the recording and work through these questions. Now we are looking at phases. So arguably the most important part, I would say. So when you are following a traditional goal setting method, it does not take into consideration the phase of life that you are in. So if you are following a self-help book or another method, then it's likely that it's just not going to work. And that's because those methods just do not bear in mind any part of a mother's journey. So all of us watching this, I would imagine, are mums. And it's likely that we are all in very different stages of motherhood in different phases. And what works for one mother is not going to work for another mother. This is the most important step of achieving a goal as a mum, recognizing and respecting the phase that you are in. So often we will know what phase we're in. We know if we're in the newborn stage, we know if we've got kids at school, we know if we've got a teenager, but actually it's respecting that, really looking at what resources you have and where you're at, and knowing that that is what you have to use as your guide. So, for example, have you just had a baby? Are you waking up 4 or 5 times in the night and still recovering physically from birth? Are your hormones completely through the roof? Or maybe you've got a child who is at school, maybe you're starting to get a bit more free time in the day. Maybe you work, maybe you're a single parent, maybe your finances are what needs to be looked at. Do you have support with childcare? Are you sleeping? Are you experiencing bad hormonal periods? Are you experiencing menopause or perimenopause? All these things are what adds up to how realistic or not realistic a goal is going to be for you. And they act as a filter. So these 3 things these phases should be the filter that you put every goal through before you commit to it. So I want you to spend a little bit of time thinking about those things and thinking about your life at the moment. What phase are you in? What's going on for you? So I'll just explain what these 3 phases are. So there is survival mode, which is low energy. You're in high demand. You've got little margin for much else other than just getting through the days. There's often no support around or very little. In this phase, the goal might not be growth related. It might be something to relieve pressure on yourself, something nourishing. Maybe something like giving yourself more rest, having fewer commitments, saying no to things, letting something go. And then you have the stability phase. This could be when your kids are maybe a bit older. So you have more predictable rhythms, some support is in place, and life feels less reactive. So this phase is about building. This is when you're starting to think about what's next, putting new ideas in place, thinking about the future, routines that support you, putting into place daily practices that make you feel good, but that are realistic. Maybe putting boundaries in place that protect your energy. And then finally, growth mode. So, growth mode is when you have the energy and space available. You have support systems that are working, that are in process. There's room for you to stretch and allocate time and focus to other projects. This is when bigger goals start to make sense. So, career growth, new projects, training, learning, expansion, new things. This is really when you have the opportunity to work on those big ticket ideas. Can you see how, if you are setting goals that belong in a growth mode, but you're actually in survival mode yourself, that you are just setting yourself up for failure? Can you see that? And I think the key here is to be honest and kind with yourself. Becoming a mother is an incredible gift, and it teaches us you're the boss. You are the creator of your own world. You get to decide what and when things happen. And being in survival mode is actually a necessary part of motherhood. Work with it, not against it. Don't try to hit the big stuff while you're in survival mode. Look after yourself, nourish yourself, use that time to even maybe plant the seed of an idea if you can, but be kind to yourself. So take a moment, press pause, write down what you think you are in right now. What phase are you in your own motherhood journey right now? So you've now found your why. You've found your phase of motherhood. You know what season you're in. And now we get to the good stuff, to the fun bit. So now you get to set your goals. So if you're not following the old way of doing things, then what is the strategy? How do we do it? So I'd like to introduce you now to this 4-step strategy that I've used many, many times. And you can come back to this throughout your motherhood journey and apply it to any situation that you're in and any goal that you want to achieve. So first up is the goal. What is your goal? Now, goal setting, as I touched on in the last slide, doesn't need to be massive, big things. A goal could be you want to have 2 more hours sleep a night. A goal could be you want to drink more water. Or a goal could be you want to start a business or travel the world. Whatever works for you, whatever matches your why and your phase. So then you need to look at the support required. Now, notice that to complete these goals, you need support, not willpower. It's not about how hard you're going to push and how much you're going to work. It's about these 4 things here. And the support doesn't necessarily have to be support from a person. So it could be, what time do you need? What childcare do you need? Partner support or family support? Money. What money support do you need? Boundaries. Do you need to put in some more boundaries to give yourself more support? Do you need to support yourself? Can you be helping yourself out by pre-planning or getting things ready for future you? For example, getting things ready for going out for exercise the night before, packing your bag and the kids' bags before you go to bed so that everything's ready. What can you use support-wise to make your goal easier? So number 3 is the rhythm. What rhythm do you need? Now, when I say rhythm, what do I mean? I don't mean daily discipline. I mean a weekly rhythm. So look at your week and zoom out and just look, when does this goal fit in realistically? When can I fit these things in that is going to work for me? What has to move? Is there something that you can get rid of to make space in your week for this? And finally, the minimum version. Now, this is key. What is the smallest amount of progress that you can make that means that you are still taking those steps towards your goal? If you have a crazy week and it feels like everything has just been turned upside down, what can you do as a minimum to make progress even on those difficult weeks? Have a think about that. So now you are going to have a look at the screen. You're going to pause it and you're going to write down these statements: my goal, my why, support needed, weekly rhythm, and the minimum version. I want you to write that down. Choose one goal and write all those things down. If you want to apply this to more goals, then you can, but you need to answer these statements for each goal. So, real life goals. This is really something that we would talk through on the recording, on the workshop, sorry. So I'm going to skip past this. However, if anybody does want to contact me about any goals that they've been struggling, I would absolutely love to hear from you. So my email is at the end of this recording. So, if this has sparked something in you and made you realize that you haven't been quite treating yourself how you deserve, or showed you how much you've been trying to do on your own, well, my work exists to change that. So, these are some of the courses and programs that are currently running with Lou Nevitt and Co. Reclaiming You is a 6-month program designed for mothers that want to work on a specific area or goal. And we work very closely together. We have bi-weekly calls, and there's a lot of resources in between those that help you get to an end version of yourself, your motherhood journey, or help with a specific problem that you are looking at or dealing with. So that's my one-to-one course. The Mothership is the on-island community in Ibiza. So if you are interested in joining that, we have activities and events monthly for mums. And there's a large community of mums on the island. If you want to join that, then you can drop me a message and I will send you the information separately. Transitions in Parenting is a very exciting course that we have starting on the 6th of March. And it's a collaboration with a family therapist on the island, Sharon Lerzer. She has the Family Evolution Centre in Santa Lalia. It's available online as well or in person. And the aim of the Transitions in Parenting course is to really equip parents, so parents as individuals and as couples, co-parents or step-parents, and help you to really have the tools to connect with yourself, recognize the changes that are happening when you've become a parent, or if you're moving into a new season of parenthood. So whether it's a new baby, moving house, a new job, starting school, any changes often come with a bit of turbulence. And in this course, we will equip you with tools to understand what's going on for yourself internally, how to deal with other people, children and partners and other caregivers, and how to just really stay connected to improve family happiness. So that starts on the 6th of March. And again, anybody interested in that, please drop me a message and I can send you more information. And the final thing that we offer is maternity leave coaching. So we deal with companies as a consultant. We go in and look at the processes and facilities available for parents returning from maternity leave or paternity leave. And we also work with the parents that are going on leave to help equip them for the changes that are going to be coming. We then speak to them while they're on maternity or paternity leave to give them the support through that time and get them prepared for when they return to work. And then we also speak to them while they're back at work to make sure that they have a smooth and happy transition into the workplace again. So that brings me to the end of the recording. Thank you for watching. And please, if you have any questions or would like to chat about anything at all, please do get in touch. Thank you so much.